Hello everyone! Let's talk about the boss. The one thing that stands between you and progression, both in games as well as life. Now, Dark Souls 3 has quite the eclectic collections of abominations for you to overcome, so I thought, why not review all of them? Remember, this is just my opinion, but if you disagree, you are wrong. And off we go. Ludix Gundyr. The man cuts quite the regal figure, but is somewhat undermined by a serious parasite issue. Out of all the introductory bosses in the Souls series, I find this to be the best one. Beautifully imposing visuals, just the right amount of challenge, and a pants-soiling second phase transformation. 9 out of 10. There is certainly more to him, but that will have to wait. Vordt of the Boreal Valley. Man in the middle of undergoing a forced species change. Listen, sometimes your loyalty to the Pontiff overrides your wish to not turn into a half-man, half-dog monstrosity that breathes air so cold that it can turn your soft tissue into little brittle meat flakes. During combat, most people will follow the tried and true stick-to-the-bum philosophy, which works. Lucky for you that his farts aren't as dangerous as his breath. 6 out of 10. Curse-rotted Greatwood. Tree that had to endure all the complaints the villagers had before becoming fed up and growing an extra arm. When you find him, he is literally sitting in the corner doing whatever the tree equivalent of crying is. His attacks consist of flailing his limbs around, falling on his ass, and dropping his goop fruits filled with acid. To beat him, you gotta get close and personal with his leaking groin sacks. I know that sounds disgusting, but in practice, it's even worse. 1 out of 10. Crystal Sage. Most people would make a meth joke here, but I am above that. Instead, I will focus on his ability to mass-produce copies of himself and the potential for assisted masturbation that provides. It's not gay if it's with yourself. As a boss, the Sage is more of a road bump than an actual obstacle. His first phase boils down to avoiding his initial attack by moving slightly to the left, then beating the ever-loving avian shit out of him. Once down to half health, the Sage brings out the copy cavalry to bombard you with soul spears. A slight increase in your rolling frequency should mitigate their presence. The Sage is easy, but he does have a cool hat, so it's an 8 out of 10. The Deacons of the Deep. A seemingly endless parade of priests. Any altar boy's worst nightmare. Their attacks aren't all that special. They mainly seek to overpower you through sheer numbers. Again, I would hate to be that altar boy. Keep bashing their brains in until the bishop arrives with his retinue of tall and obese boys. Repeat the process, no real strategy required. 3 out of 10. The Abyss Watchers. Even before you step through the fog, you can already tell that something here is different. You can tell by the sounds of clashing swords that the boss is already engaged in a fight. Stepping through the fog reveals that the boss is having a violent argument with itself. Okay? The Abyss Watcher puts down its brother in arms, turns around and points to you to indicate that you are next on the list of eviscerations. That's fine, you can handle one guy. Oh, another one spawns? That's gotta be a bit more challenging. A third one? Come on, Dark Souls, why are you doing this to... Oh, he's on my team. That was my general experience when first fighting the Abyss Watchers, and apparently I was not alone in that. 10 out of 10. High Lord Wolnir. Objectively, one of the easiest bosses in the game, where the only real threat is getting caught in a mist of halitosis. But also, objectively, one of the most fabulous. Wolnir also potentially has one of the most amazing intros to any boss. 5 out of 10. Old Demon King. Demon so old that he is in the process of turning into a tree. Do not ask me how demon physiology works. If you beat him within an inch of his life, he starts to limp. Just like Sif. Unfortunately for him, he is not cute enough for the fans to go, Aww. So once he's beaten, most people forget about him by the time they fight the next monstrosity that stands in their way. 4 out of 10. Pontiff Sulyvahn. A man whose name everyone mispronounces. It's not unlikely that a good amount of people watching this stopped playing after trying and failing to push through this boss. He is arguably one of the most challenging bosses in the game because of his highly aggressive nature. Use a shield. During his second phase, his soul splits from his body and tree branches starts growing from his back. Almost as if his mom was a tree. Yeah, that's the deep lore right there. 6 out of 10. Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. Sentient piece of excrement using the god Gwendolyn as a meat puppet. He has multiple different lasers, fire attacks, and homing arrow rain. The latter attack does exemplify the saying, sometimes the best defense is a good run away! 8 out of 10. Yhorm the Giant. Accidentally torched all the men, women and children that he was supposed to protect. That got him a little down. Quick side note, the autocorrect on Google kept changing torched to touched, so I think Google is trying to tell us something. This is a gimmick boss fight where you absolutely need to use the Storm Ruler or you're going to have a bad time. I will give it bonus points though for being able to fight alongside the Onion Bro. 6 out of 10. Dancer of the Boreal Valley. A dancer currently in between species. She was ordered by the Pontiff to serve both as dancer and knight. She was given 2 swords which in her hands can disembowel you in a flourish so fancy that you will thank her for it. In your hands though, they suck. For the bum alone, she gets a 6, but I'ma throw in a couple of extra points because of them legs. 8 out of 10. Oceiros, the Consumed King. Worst dad ever. But to be fair, that child of his is a monstrosity. I mean, look at it! During the first phase, Oceiros seems like your fairly standard mentally impaired half-man, half-dragon having visions of his lost child. During his second phase, all pretense is gone and the former king goes full-on bad dragon. Never go full-on bad dragon. 4 out of 10. Dragon Slayer Armour. What can I say? Armour puppeted by weird butterfly creatures. Yeah. Solid fight though, 6 out of 10. Champion Gundyr. Travel back in time to endure the unbridled thickness of Gundyr. This is a Gundyr before the parasite and before the meth addiction. I know it doesn't really come across clear in the lore, but I got you covered. As for the fight itself, it can be fairly challenging. Unless... I still love it though. 10 out of 10. Lorian, the Elder Prince, and Lotrhic, Younger Prince. Outside of Beefcake Gundyr, this is my favorite boss fight in the entire game. We have a man, broken by a curse, reduced to fighting on his knees, but still takes up a weapon in order to defend his little brother, who, by the way, should share some of that bed space with his sibling. 9 out of 10. Ancient Wyvern. This is less of a boss and more of an obstacle course. A rather tame obstacle course. 1 out of 10, and I'm only giving it 1 solely because it ends with a plunge attack. Nameless King. A man and his dragon companion hanging out, waiting for the end of time. Just between you and me though, his name is Clyde. During his first phase, Clyde will be riding around on his pet, throwing lightning and attempting to delimb you with his sword spear. Once you have maimed his pet to the point where he has to put it down himself, you monster, he will be forced to face you on the ground where the epic battle will conclude. 8 out of 10. Soul of Cinder. Supposedly, every single idiot who has relit the flame has left a piece of themselves in this boss, so in theory it should be an epic battle, but personally, I find it to be somewhat generic that we fight a generic knight. It does have that win thing going for it though, but no. 5 out of 10. Sister Friede. All Souls games need at least one waifu boss, and this is it. She ticks all the right boxes. Badass, beautiful, and 2 bare feet. 9 out of 10. Champion's Gravelender. Now, I want you all to know up front that I consider this to be the worst boss fight in the game for one singular reason. I mean, look at that. A loincloth, chain tunic, sorcerer's gloves, and a dark wraith helm? What type of fashion is that? Neither one of the armor pieces go together, nor does the weapon really fit, and nor does the fashion fit the theme of a caretaker. What the hell, FromSoft? I can't. I just can't. 0 out of 10. Demon in Pain and Demon from Below / Demon Prince. Ah yes, the last 2 demons in existence. Kill them and they will go all Mega Sword and transform into the Demon Prince. You probably want the friends during phase 1 of this fight, as the 2 demons are a strain on your ability to weather frustration. It's still a cool fight though. 7 out of 10. Haflight, Spear of the Church. This is a dude. 2 out of 10. Slave Knight Gael. At the end of time, we find Slave Knight Gael partaking in cannibalism in order to deliver the Dark Souls to his precious niece. This is how it ends. 2 random undead at the end of the world fighting for the Dark Soul. I like that. 10 out of 10. Dark Eater Midir. And here we are! The last boss of the Dark Souls series. As the name implies, Midir spent most of his time consuming the dark, which turns out is quite unhealthy. Maybe, kinda, sorta, I don't know. It did give him the ability to shoot dark flavored lasers out of his mouth, so what do I know? Being the end boss, Midir is suitably difficult. However, he does have an allergy against pestilent mist, so if you feel particularly cheesy... Anyway, 8 out of 10. And this is where you subscribe and maybe even join the Discord. You know where the link is. Have a good one, everybody.